You guys, we're here, back again for this beautiful thing that we call, I don't know what it's called, whatever it's called, what's podcast, real conversations, whatsoever, man. But look, man, Red, how have you been, man? It's been a while, man. How have you been?
Man,
How
it
have the
is.
last few weeks been?
Bro, well, man, it's a lot has changed actually. I got my first dose of the vaccine. So yeah. So I'm getting used to the new tail and the scaly skin. You know what I mean? From the side effects of the vaccine. Yeah. So like, actually, the funny thing is, like, I remember after I took it, the first day was like fine, but the second day I had this sharp pain in my shoulder.
So is this the Pfizer, the Zeneca, or
Pfizer?
5?
Pfizer. Here in Canada, they're giving Moderna to the older people and Pfizer to the younger people. So a lot of like, so I definitely, so that's just one of the big changes. Aside from that, to be honest with you, HH, pretty much same old. Got my hair buzzed, so I just went for a new hairstyle.
Oh yeah.
So, yeah. That's just about it, man. What about you?
Chainsaw first door. Thank you, man. Thank you, bro.
Oh, shout out to you, Chainsaw, man. We always appreciate you, bro. You're always here, man. We really appreciate you.
Chainsaw, thank you, man. So no, look, I said again, last few days, man, I've just been resting, man, because I told you that I went super hard with these Euros, crazy hard. So like, and basically, it just shows you that like sleep is underrated. Like sleep and eating well, because it's one of those things I just think that you just take for granted. But a really good sleep, especially, what's really good? A really good nap.
Yep.
For me, I nap better than sleep, because for me, I don't sleep very, very well. Like, it's been a long time since I've actually had a really good sleep. I just don't sleep well.
So here's the thing. I will tell you this, because like I like to take care of my body a lot. Like your body's a temple, guys. You got to take care of it, right? So sleeping at night is key, because your body produces melatonin at night to help you soothe your body, and then during the day you need the serotonin really to keep maintaining your skin and everything. So as much as you can, sleep is important. If you sleep right, everything else falls into place. Your eating schedule will get better, because you'll start getting hungry during regular times of the day. Your body will be like consuming more energy during the day, so you'll fix up your diet. So, man, sleep is important, guys. Always try to get it in at night. Like for example, I used to stay up a lot and like play video games, and like the thing is, like, I play a lot of strategy games, so I tend to like stay up just planning, just pretty much looking up new strategies. So what I did, instead of like staying up, I started sleeping early, and I'll just wake up at 6 a.m. and I'll just, like 6 a.m. I'll game, and then I'm until like 10 a.m. That's usually when I start getting ready for work, and I have to be at work by 12. That's how usually like my schedule is.
So do you sleep better than you nap?
No, before I used to nap. Like napping was a big thing for me, but it was very hard for me to transition, and now I don't nap anymore. I try my hardest to not nap at all, man. Thanks, guys. Thanks, Mega. Appreciate it, man.
I think for me it's like, 'cause I've always been, I feel like I'm like a half vampire, because for me, like, I'm most productive at night, because like nighttime is when it's mostly silence, everyone's asleep. So really, I am really mostly at night. Yes, yeah, I'm not sure that it's something wrong with the mic, but I don't know whether it's me, but I hear like a buzzing sound.
Yeah, give me 1 second. I'm gonna just check it out. Maybe it's the gain on it. I'm gonna unplug it, plug it back in. So give me 1 quick second.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah, because I thought it was just my headphone.
Better?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Perfect.
Oh, much better.
Sorry about that, guys.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Much better. Okay. So yeah, man. I think for me, I've always been a very bad sleeper, because like whenever either I'm doing writing or game, basically during my days of like Skyrim and Mass Effect and Halo, but mainly Mass Effect and Skyrim, I would just game all through the night. So basically from like 10 p.m. to like 3, 4 a.m., especially if like it's like an RPG where you have to roam around, bro. Yeah. I'm there for like all the way through.
When I'm like, especially when I get into like games, like I love RPGs. RPGs like are my go-to. Like especially when you're very in tune with the world, you know what I mean? Like especially like, and I played the last like great RPG that I really played was God of War. That one for PlayStation 4.
No, but I mean, do you play MMOs basically? Because obviously like that's RPG, but like the ones where like Sandbox.
Yeah, it's so like yeah, like I played like GTA 5, Bully. I played God of War. I played Pokemon. I played every single Pokemon game. I played every single
no.
Pokemon hack. I played what's it called? I played God of War. Sorry, not God of War. Sorry, World of Warcraft 3.
Oh yeah.
Back in the day, I think up until Pandoria, I think that was the last edition that I played up. No, I'm big into RPGs, and like I like you, HH. I was like that, but like to be honest with you, HH, like prioritize sleeping at night. Like you really like try to get like melatonin from like your local drugstore, just to help you straighten up your sleeping schedule.
So I've got to take drugs to sleep.
No, melatonin is a natural drug that your body produces, but it does help you sleep. So if you're having problems sleeping early, what I recommend is like, let's say for example, if you want to sleep at 11, right? This is my bedtime that I have set right now. Like if I show you like on my phone, if you go to on iPhones,
I can't go to bed at 11. That's impossible.
Like right there, like sleep and wake up. It's at 11 to 7 a.m. I have it set for me. So like automatically at 11, my phone just goes in on do not disturb, and I try to go to sleep.
So what's it called? Like live chats. What are your average bedtimes? Just out of curiosity, like what are your normal bedtimes for everyone in the live chat? Because for me, it's because my work schedule is all over the place. It's a bit harder for me to say it, but very rarely do I go to bed before 12 a.m.
But that's fine. Like
very rarely do I go to bed before 12 a.m.
12 a.m. is not that bad. I think 12 a.m. is still like a healthy. Like I do believe like look, 1 a.m. should be the latest you stay up, to be honest with you. Yeah, like 1 a.m. I think that's the latest. 2 a.m. you're pushing it a little bit, but like you can still get a good 8 hours before 10 a.m. and still get like a productive day. The problem is when you sleep late, your testosterone is going to be lower. You're going to be more sluggish. You're not going to be at your sharpest. So like you want to
see this is the thing about this. This is because I think they said like 7 hours is what you should aim for. But my thing is that, bro, 6 a.m. See, unless you have work to go. So if you have work to go to, it is what it is. You have to get up at 6 a.m. But like normal work schedules are like so basically like my work schedule used to be if I was waking up early, it would be 8 a.m. till 7 p.m.
Yep.
It would be like 8 a.m. till 7 p.m. So then I'd have to maybe do like 11 p.m. because I want to get at least, I think 7 hours is a really good
that's
thing.
Yeah, 7 hours, 8 hours, that's perfect. Like I tend to like, my body just is wired for 7 hours. Like for some reason, if I fall asleep at 11, I always wake up like at 7, 6 automatically, even without my alarm. But like I know right now because of the pandemic, a lot of people are like working from home, school's been off. So a lot of people, their sleep schedule is messed up. So it's understandable right now. But like I wakes up at 9 a.m. I really don't think Michael B. Jordan does that. Not to be honest with you, like maybe he does like sometimes, but like I highly doubt it. And if he does, because he's rich enough where he could probably afford to do that every now and then, like still have like go to doctors that could actually like set him up. But like for the average person, like for us, like you should strive to go for 7 hours. It's much better for you so you can be at peak performance. So you can be at peak performance to be the best version of yourself. Because when you're asleep, like you don't. Like I'll give you an example. Like I work in sales, right? So I need to always have high tolerance and a high for people. Like I need to have patience.
So is this online sales or bricks and mortar?
No, face to face. Okay. Like I'm a face to face salesman. So like I like obviously like I right now I'm doing mortgages. So like I do mortgages for people. I approve loans and stuff like that. Where it's not really sales, but it's still like people to people. It's a people job. So my tolerance and my patience with people has to be high. When I go on low on sleep, whenever I get somebody that walks up to me or gives me a call, I think I roll my eyes because I have a headache. I don't really want to deal with people right now. I don't want to have a lot on my plate. And that's because of my fatigue. I'm tired. I'm not at 100%. So that's why I choose to sleep early, because when I wake up early, I have my breakfast. I like to have a big breakfast. I like to eat like 4 eggs, 3 pieces of turkey bacon, 2 pieces of toast, just to get like that big meal in. I don't drink coffee. I'm taking caffeine. I take a caffeine pill a day during the day, just because I'm trying to quit coffee, consuming it because because it's what messed up my sleep schedule before. Here in Canada, like Tim Hortons is huge. So if you go on every corner, there's always a Tim Hortons. Tim Hortons is just like a cheap coffee shop where you just go through drive-through, $1.30, you get like a double like coffee with 2 sugar, 2 cream.
But my thing is that I've just never been a morning person. Like for me, like even whenever I used to go to work and it was like that's from like 8 a.m. to 12 p.m. my brain is off. Because normally like the TV job that I did like on the side was where we basically go on air around 12 p.m., 1 p.m. So that morning time is just for me just to sort of wake up, and then once I'm on air, then okay, 12 p.m., 1 p.m., boom. But that's period from like 8 a.m. to 12 p.m. My brain is just sort of down because I told you, I don't eat breakfast.
Yep, you need breakfast is important.
I don't. Because what I do is I just have something to eat, then I put everything into dinner because I have a massive dinner.
Gotcha.
Around like 10 p.m., 11 p.m.
See, that's not bad. Like I have my friend who's like that, who he's a bodybuilder, but he always likes to start off his breakfast light because he does cardio. So he has this like usually an apple and just something like just a piece of bread, like a piece of toast with he spreads avocado on it just to get some healthy fats, some carbs, and like apple to get you going. But like for me personally, because I work in sales, sometimes I could get very busy during the day, so I miss out on lunch. Like there's a lot of times where like I get swamped. So I won't have time to like really take my lunch break. So I need that big breakfast in the morning. So just in case I can't take my lunch, it's okay. I had a big breakfast, I have my nutrition. Then I could just go straight to dinner and have like an evening like snack. But also HH, like if one of you here in the chat is bodybuilding or is trying to work out and get into better physique, sleeping at night, somebody mentioned it earlier, it does produce testosterone. And at night when you're asleep, that's when your body starts, all the nutrition that you took out through the day, it starts to fill in the gaps in your muscles for all that tear that you got. So if you're not sleeping properly, you're not going to get those proper gains that you're looking for. If you ever feel like I'm working out and I'm not getting really the progress that I'm looking for, trust me, just start sleeping at night better. And you're going to see much better results in 1 month. In 1 month, you're going to see a huge difference.
All right, so let's wrap. Let's get into it, man.
Let's go.
Our first thing right now, and you said that you researched this. See, I want to break this into two because I want to talk about space and then the flat Earth theory. But I first want to really relate to space. So obviously, I think one of the big stories of this past week was, of course,
the Virgin billionaire, yeah.
Richard Branson. So, do you remember? Does even anyone in the live sector? Do you guys remember Virgin Megastore?
I don't, to be honest with you.
So I'm not sure whether it's made it to America, but back in the late 90s,
is that the record company? The record company, yes, I remember that. Yeah.
He began with the Virgin Megastore, and I remember, like in London, there was this one massive thing like Virgin Megastore, and basically all they were known for was just selling CDs. Went back when he used to buy CDs for like 16 for a CD. So Virgin Megastore was a big thing. So I think he started with that, and then he then expanded into the trains, the planes, and so forth.
Cell phones,
cell phones. Really, it's their plane and their trains that destroy the competition. You know, because obviously in England, British Airways was really the big thing. Virgin came and just lubricated British Airways completely.
Yep. Well, here in Canada, we have Virgin Mobile, which is like one of the big six providers. So like, yeah. So they're pretty prevalent here, and like obviously, I think in the UK, you guys also have Virgin as well. Do you not? Like,
yeah. But it's not. I think the big ones, unless maybe someone in the live can correct me, the big ones are Vodafone, 3,
T-Mobile,
and TalkTalk. Those are really the big providers in there. Like here, the Virgin is really known for its trains, its planes, and they're basically planes and trains. Planes and trains is Virgin destroys everyone there.
But fun fact about that guy, by the way, he's what's it called? He didn't actually go to space. Like he went up into the atmosphere, but he didn't actually make it into what's quote unquote space. Like Jeff Bezos, his trip is actually going to go. Like it's going to break out of the Earth. Is like I think.
Okay. So wait a minute. So where did this guy actually go? So where did Branson actually go?
I can find the graphic if you want. I could send it to you. And you could actually post it. But I saw the actual.
So he didn't leave Earth.
He didn't actually go in leave his Earth's atmosphere. He just went into like high up into the atmosphere, but he didn't actually break through. Like Jeff Bezos, his trip is actually going to go above it. Like he's actually going to go into space.
So what's the point? Like, no, because for me, I thought the big thing was like, wait a minute, because hence why this could be so big. So maybe we need to wait for what Bezos and Musk and all these guys are going to do. Because my thought was, wait a minute, this could be what we saw in what's the name of that Schwarzenegger film, Total Recall?
Yep.
Like Total Recall, all the films were like, oh, Going to space is literally
Mars.
just like having like a plane thing, you know.
Like a bus ride. Like you just like
Yeah, it's
around
like,
Mars,
it's like a bus ride because because I've always had this notion, and it's ever since I watched. Did you used to watch the Jetsons?
Yeah.
For me, Jetsons was the show wasn't that great. It wasn't really that great. But what I liked about the show was just how they depicted the future and just how things would be and so forth. So I was like, man, shit, like imagine if.
Not gonna lie, they're actually pretty close, by the way. Like the tablets, they had the tablets and the way like the digital currency and then like the TVs and like.
Well, can you take a tablet that is like eating a full course meal? I don't think you can.
No, I don't think so. No.
No. Listen, that was the thing that blew my mind about the Jetsons was how just one pill, and also you basically save on just so you're not killing any animals or anything. So this one pill can taste like whatever you want it to taste like.
But the thing is, it's like with modern technology right now, with 3D printing and the way like we have it, like it is possible, like to in the future have to print off food. Right, like the more precise technology gets, and the more smaller it gets, like with detail, you could actually replicate an apple and stuff like that because everything is made out of like the same atoms. You know what I mean? Like, so it is theoretically possible, and like we are heading in that direction because day by day, like year after year, we're getting more precise with our technology. Everything is we're down to like the millisecond, even less than a millisecond. I think it's called the zillisecond. Like so.
Yeah.
We're getting more accurate with it, so you never know it. That could be possible. That definitely could be possible.
So my thing is that how close? Okay, guys. Let's keep it real here because my thing is how close are we, or how far away are we from being able to fly either into space or to other planets in the way that we fly to other countries? Because my thing is, I think we're a long way away. That's the first thing. Second thing is, okay, let's say you're not going into space. Now, I think going into space would just be a crazy thing. Hence why this now links into our whole flat earth theory. Because if you can send any flat earth theorist out into space and they can actually see that it's a sphere, it's done. So beyond just the craziness of going out into space is, okay, where are you going to? You can't land on Mars. Can you take a spaceship to the moon? And even if you're going to the moon, you're just going to the moon just to... Okay, I suppose you're just going to the moon to sit. And I have my theories about the moon landing, which I don't think ever took place. So I have my own misgivings as to, okay, can any human beings actually even physically make it to the moon and even walk around on the moon? I'm not even sure that that's possible. So I think this is a lot longer away to do for regular people than I think people want to believe. I don't think we're that close to making this happen.
No, I see. The thing is, I think as human beings, we should not touch the moon. Did you hear what the news about the moon wobble recently?
Well, what happened?
So there's the scientists are predicting a moon wobble that's going to cause major tidal waves in 2030. Like, so I really don't think we should be sending rockets towards the moon, towards something that can really control the atmosphere and our weather. I to be honest with you, I don't like. Because I used to believe that moon landing was completely fake. To be honest with you, now I'm a bit more skeptical on it because I do believe that maybe we just stopped because of the repercussions. Because we should not be playing with a rock that's floating around our planet. That if it were to go out of rotation, like it's the end of the world for us. Like it's
no. For me, I'm of the mindset, and I truly believe that human beings are just gonna look at the stuff with the ozone layer. Like humans don't realize that there is a whole process that is above us, and our curiosity is both our greatest strength and our greatest weakness. Our curiosity is why we are where we are based on technology and why we've been able to advance. But also, our curiosity could be what screws us over because nature is a beast that you can't fight. Once that's basically, it's like we have answers for everything. We don't have an answer for an earthquake, a tornado, or a volcano. That's nature saying that, no, you are peons here. There is something far bigger than you that you can't do anything against. So nature will always win. And I think that's, but just that the curiosity and the eagerness for human beings to always try to advance and poke the bear, I think it's what will also basically screw us over, because I think scientists will be so eager to try to advance, and we're going to do something that's going to just mess up with nature so much, we're going to get completely. I think that in the end of the day, human beings are going to kill themselves.
Yeah. No, like
they will kill themselves.
We like it is our own death. Like even like in the Avengers, to be honest with you, I hate to like bring movies into this, like, but like in the Avengers, that's what Tony Stark, like everything that happened in the Avengers is all because of Tony Stark's curiosity, right? He poked, like when he brought on Ultron, right, which ended up because out of his curiosity, he's trying to better humankind by like testing technology, but in the end, that technology got out of hand, and it's true. Like we don't know what we're doing. The thing is, that's that our curiosity is ultimately what's going to probably be our biggest downfall, and it's our biggest asset at the same time. The fact that we have free will to explore. Yeah, shout out to you, RB, bro. Oh man. Yeah. By the way, guys, check out RB's comps. He makes some dope comps. RB's a great editor. Always check out his work, man. He's actually fantastic.
Have you seen? Because I just watched this movie like about a week ago. Have you seen this movie Capricorn 1 with James Brolin, O.J. Simpson, and so? I'm going to send you the link. And guys, I recommend to everyone in the live chat to watch Capricorn 1. Because Capricorn, it's because I watched Capricorn 1 that I said, now they didn't land on the moon. Because I don't want to spoil this for you. Just I'll send you the link. And if anybody wants, just DM me and I'll send you guys the link. Watch Capricorn 1.
But see, like,
watch Capricorn 1.
You know what the thing is, HH? Like, what confuses me about like space, right, is that somebody mentioned in the comments, it's way too big for us to even comprehend. Like as human beings, like
we can't. It's impossible. Like, it's too big.
You know what's funny is like, you know how a lot of billionaires, a lot of rich people tend to like always talk about overpopulation, right? Overpopulation is a myth, right? You can fit everybody on the planet in Australia and we'll still have space, right? So there's no such thing as overpopulation. The Earth actually produces food enough for 10 billion people, but we tend to throw away most of it. And that like world hunger is actually a man-made problem. It's not something that do
you know really how crazy that's? There is more than enough food for everyone.
Yeah.
And which is why I'm always so conscious about not wasting food, because do you know how much food gets wasted?
So many.
Because if you go to, let's say, like a rich person's house and you just see all the food that they buy and how much food that they don't eat, if you're just to this just thing that also boggles the mind. If you just to take up all the food that people don't eat because people just overspend, it would easily feed the people that are hungry, which is just so crazy.
It's messed up, HH, because you know what's funny is that like we have in certain countries obesity problems, in certain countries hunger problems. You know what I mean? And surprisingly, the countries with a lot of money tend to have the obesity problems. Most of our problems that we have on the planet right now are usually man-made problems due down to greed on parts of some specific groups. I don't believe in any of that. Like, but that's the thing is like when it comes to human beings, for us, we can't even comprehend the size of our planet. We can't even comprehend the deepness of the ocean. You want to comprehend the infinite space that is outside of this Earth, and that's what when we want to bring in the flat Earth theory. Because I looked into flat Earth. I'm the type of guy whenever I hear about anything, even if it's ludicrous, I'm like, if people believe it, I want to check it out just to see like what is there, right? And to be honest with you, I was super surprised with flat Earth theory. I don't believe in it. Of course, I believe the Earth is spherical. No, actually not spherical. I believe it's square and stationary. You can Google HH, square and stationary Earth. Square stationary Earth. Google it and show it to the people. But when I looked up videos about like flat earthers and I was looking at what they were saying, and a lot of So like a lot of people believe HH because of so much lies that people have been fed by their governments, by that it's built skepticism, right? And flat earthers believe that if the earth is flat and it's in a dome, that means ultimately it proves that there's a creator, right? But if you tell people that you live on a sphere and you're just in empty space, it removes cause and reason. You know what I mean?
But one thing quickly, Red. And this is just a quick. So this is the one question I always ask to people who believe in flat Earth. Because again, same thing. I'm not going to just completely be like, oh no, you don't know what the hell you're saying, blah blah. I'm like, okay, look, let's have a conversation. No,
but that's the thing is like,
okay. So my question is this, Red. If, as you can see here, if you're saying that the Earth is flat, there must be an edge. So there must be a point at which pilots or so forth reach to the very edge of the Earth. And if you walk over the edge, so where are the edges? Because if it's flat, there has to be an end point and an edge.
Well, That's the thing. Is
So
like
where's the
flat
edge?
earthers? So like I said, I did a little bit of research on this before this, just to talk about it. Don't worry, guys. I'm going to show you the square and stationary Earth, and you guys will be believers. Like you guys will be believers like me, guys. We'll start
Square
our
and
own.
stationary, man.
We'll start
Come
our
on,
own
bro.
community, the square stationary Earth community, bro. But what's it called? The thing is it's like this flat earthers tend to believe that there is no South Pole. There's a North Pole, which is like the center of the Earth, and then the edge of the Earth is just not there. And if you actually look up, like, it is illegal for regular people to go to the South Pole. You're not allowed. You can't go to the poles. Like, even if you were to have the money and you want to fly out there and go there and you have all the equipment, you're not allowed. So that's why it causes a lot of skepticism. Again, I believe that these ridiculous theories are all stem from lies. When you're lied to for so long, when you're constantly misled by governments, and like, especially because like there's a lot of government operations that happen like behind the scenes.
You did answer my question though.
Yep.
As in, like, how do the flat earthers respond to edges? That if the earth is flat, you have to reach an edge.
Can you guys see my screen? Sorry, I shared it. Does it shoot.
Okay.
1 second. That is a square and stationary Earth. You guys see that? That's that.
So it's square. So you're saying that this whole diagram is what the Earth is?
That's what the Earth looks like. We're just like in a little Beyblade bowl. That's all it is.
What the Red, what have you been smoking, man?
No. I'm just kidding. Like, what? Because you remember when you said me, like, you're like, yo, this is what we're gonna be talking about. So I started like looking. I started looking this stuff up. I'm not even kidding. HH. Some of the stuff that I found was hilarious. Like this is one of them. Like, I'll be, guys, I'm just joking. I don't believe this, but like I just thought it was pretty funny when I saw it. I'm like, you'd be surprised. Some people believe this garbage. I don't want to disrespect some religions because like I'm close to a native reserve here where in my city, like natives, like Native Americans. And they believe in like this turtle god who harbors Earth on his back. Now, obviously, this is just one of many Native American tribes, right?
Yeah.
But they do believe that, and like some of them believe that too. I'm not high, guys. I'm actually joking. It's a joke.
No. Thank God you were joking because I was saying already. Put the pipe down. Put that pipe down.
But this is the bizarreness of on the internet. Anything can make. You can say some absurd shit.
Which is why I keep on, and I'm sure that if there are any Africans here, specifically Nigerians here, you'll know what I'm talking about. I'm trying to get my mom off the internet.
Absolutely. WhatsApp.
Because my mom sends me everything. I try to explain to my mom that it's the internet. Not everything is real, and not everything leads to death that you say on the internet. Because on the internet, you see, the beauty about the internet is, I think we even discussed this like a few episodes ago. The plus side is you can easily now access information. So you don't have to go to a library, get a library card, go through books, go through a whole set thing. It's like Google, type a few things, and the information is there. Now, the bad thing about it is that there's so much information that there's a lot of misinformation. So how do you sift through what is real and what is BS? And that is the difficulty.
And I think we spoke about this in the first episode, that there's two ways of censorship. They could either censor you by stopping you from talking, like by just cutting off all information, or they censor you by overloading so much information to make it hard for people to find the real stuff.
Yeah.
Right. And that's where this comes from. Like I said, like what I believe, like honestly, when I go into
what do you believe? Do you believe in flat Earth, or you do not believe in flat? Like, where are you?
I believe in a round Earth. I absolutely believe in it. No, I believe in a like HH. The thing is, if you study physics, if you study like basic science, you understand how everything like almost works in our like in our universe.
But see, Red, put physics to one side. You see, my thing is, let's talk to the guy who didn't go to school. Let's talk to the guy who didn't take physics and everything. Let's put science to one side. Let's talk logic. Hence why I say, if you bring in gravity and spheres and so forth, then it could be hard for somebody who didn't go to school. Again, not dissing anyone. You didn't go to school. Let's now deal on just pure logic and common sense. You believe in flat Earth. That means things is flat. So that means there's an edge. So that means that surely there must be a place on Earth where they're at the very end and it's an edge.
I mean,
why does that exist?
Imagine if like a meteor comes and hits the edge of the edge, and it just like flips over and we all just die. Like that makes no sense. Like because like I really don't understand how they could possibly, because like how you can actually find out, like you can actually study. I think his name was it Galileo that discovered that the Earth was round. I think it was. So what he did, like his experiment, you guys could all just do this at home. Get yourself a bowl, like a circular bowl, like a fish bowl, put inside it a fish, fill it up with water, and then stand and rotate it, right? The fish will stay stationary as you are rotating the Earth, right? As you are rotating the bowl. It's simple. Like I don't.
Wait. If the Earth was a globe, then pilots would require deeping the nose of the plane constantly, which never happens.
What do you mean? Like, as in, like they have to keep constantly pull up and like keep have it going down? But Polaris.
This is where physics comes from, because I think you are viewing it in a very literal sense. Or like, it's basically you're viewing it in a literal sense in the sense of, it's a circle. There's an object here, so if the object is going through, then you have to dip down. But the fact that things are constantly moving.
Yep, and not only that, the Earth is massive. The Earth is massive, so like maybe like yes, when you're looking at it like if you bring a soccer ball and you're like, okay, well an ant, like no, but the ant is way bigger than a plane is to that soccer ball, or like what the plane is to the Earth. Like you need it's so big that you like, it's gonna seem flat to us, but if you are on that high altitude, when you're in a plane, just open up your window and try to look at the horizon. You'll see it ends up cutting off. That's because it's curving around. It's because as human beings, we have to understand that we have our mental limitations. We can't even comprehend. Your mind can't even comprehend more than 150 people at a time. You can like in your conscious state, like you can't really remember more than 150 people.
Okay, look. Let's try and get into the mind of the flat Earth guy, because I can understand where they're coming from. Is if, let's say, you don't believe the government, you don't believe what you've been told, and you want to question, which is good. It's always good to question. So the flat earth guy, they're like, wait a minute, I'm walking like this, and everything is flat. And the way I'm walking, everything is flat. There is nothing spherical about the world I'm living in, which is true. If we just view it, there's nothing spherical about how we operate within the world. But the answer to that is, you can't have your cake and eat it. So if you say the earth is flat, you have to show to me where the edge of the world is. You have to. If it is flat, you've got to show me where this is where there has to be an end point. You see, a plane, let's say a plane had unlimited petrol.
Yep.
If it had unlimited petrol, a plane could just keep on flying for all time.
Yep.
Because it's a sphere. Now, if it was flat, if it was flat, the plane would now reach here, then it goes off the edge.
Yeah. Like
So my thing is that if you're a flat earth theorist, you have to show me evidence of where the edge of the earth is and where the two edges where the edges of the earth are. You have to show it, and if you can't show it to me, then no, your flat earth and theory doesn't work.
But see, what interests me about flat earth theory is like I want to know, like what I wanted to know is not about the theory itself, because I think the theory is ridiculous. I want to know what makes people believe in it, and it's skepticism. They believe is that a flat earth is proof of God, right? A flat earth is proof that God created this earth and we're here for a purpose, right? And I watched a video of a guy, he's explaining it. Like he was being asked, he was interviewed, and he was explaining, he was saying like a flat earth is proof of God, because if you tell people that they're on a sphere and it's all random, it's all just the Big Bang, this happened, evolution, it tells people that there is no ultimate creator. We're just random. It's easy to control people that way because there's no purpose. But if you tell people that it's flat, then there is purpose, and then it's harder to control people. That is it. So when I realized that, I'm like, bro, these people are just hyper skeptics. These are people who smoke too much weed and got way too paranoid. And like, it just doesn't make like, it can't like, because if you do, you can, there's so many experiments that you could do from home, like with literally no equipment, that you could find that, like, you can find out yourself that the earth is round. Like, it's not like really hard. It's just that, you know what it is, I feel like the internet, that's the biggest problem. Is like anything we could like the square and stationary earth, we were laughing about it, but I guarantee you, if I start a YouTube channel and I'm just consistent, right, for like a year straight, 2 years straight, I'm just uploading videos, I start a Facebook group, I start recruiting people and just going after the government, going after certain groups, there are people that are going to just want to agree with me and they'll join my cause just because I'm the enemy of my enemy is my friend, and they'll start believing it. That's what happened with flat Earth.
And I think as well, it goes to the points you make with regards to people need like a creator, needs to believe that they're the sense of the earth. A lot of people find it very hard to accept the fact that we are just the third rock from the sun.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
you know, and I think I forgot what it was. I think I was watching a podcast, but when someone said that, you know, that we used to be Venus, or this earth used to be Venus, because I think Venus, is just a bit too far away. So this literally is the right amount of distance for life to exist. So people find it hard to believe that no, we have just this third rock amongst several rocks within this solar system. So once you now tell guys that no, we're a sphere, just like that sphere next to us, just like that sphere over there, and we're not that special, people find it hard to accept because people want to believe that we are special.
But
once you now tell people that you're not special, then people are like, no, I refuse to accept that.
But we are special. Like the thing is people don't understand how insanely rare it is to have the circumstances that maintain our survival. Like the Earth is set up in the perfect distance from the sun, where it gives us enough warmth for us to survive, and it's enough distance where it doesn't kill us from the heat. You know what I mean? And at the same time, we have the perfect moon that comes around and maintains our certain gravity. Like this, within our seen galaxy, we have not found a single planet that can harvest life like the Earth can. Like we're already lottery winners. The fact that we exist on this planet and we were able to evolve and get to this point that we're in right now, this is already insanely coincidental and insanely. The probability for it is very, 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 very low. That's why scientists to this day they keep looking out into space. We can't even find planets that are close. They find some planets and be like, okay, this is a possibility, but nothing that's actually conclusive. That be like, okay, this is a planet that we could actually migrate to, and it could actually maintain human life. In reality, like Earth, we already hit the jackpot. We already hit the lottery.
But I think we are super special in a scientific sense. But I think people are talking about being special in a religious sense.
Yeah. Isn't like there's just like ultimate proof of God.
No. Like I said again, like the fact that I'm talking to you right now, and all you guys are now listening to this right now, this is like a 1 trillion to 1 chance of that happening.
Yeah.
So the fact that we are right now at this moment in time, right now, doing this, talking to one another through the internet, that is super, super, super special. You know. That's what now right now in this moment in time, because the life itself of life just exists is special. But it's like people want to believe, like back in the day when we thought that we were the center of the universe and the earth was flat and all that existed was this, people were like, oh my gosh, we are special. You know, God chose us. You know, we have dominion over the animals. You know, we are here for a reason because we are all that exists. The biggest discovery was the fact that, there are other planets that exist, and we're a sphere, and we are planets like amongst other planets. And oh my gosh, we are just one of several trillion, gazillion solar systems and galaxies that exist out there. So once you found that out, it's like, wait a minute, we're not special. We're just a specific species here, a specific moment in time. Because see, the issue is that we have no concept of time in the larger sense. We have a concept of time in terms of humanity or hundreds of years, but we don't have concept of time in terms of billions of years. Because the scary thing, is that who knows how long this freaking space has been knocked around for?
Yeah.
Like, do you know how scary that is? To pause for a moment, guys, and just think that this space and all these planets could have been around for billions, trillions of years before us. That is mind-boggling. Hence why you can't fathom that time scale.
See, the thing is, even if we're looking at human history, we can't even fathom it, right? If we're talking about ancient Mesopotamia, we're talking about did you know, even in Bosnia, there's Bosnian pyramids. You know what I mean? Like that, if you guys have ever seen them, like the pyramids that are perfectly separated by 60 degrees each, like they're so close and precise. And you're thinking about it, you're like, how old was this human civilization that was here before us that were really constructing these things in perfect precision, right? When you look at the Egyptian pyramids, you look at the Aztecan pyramids. Like when I went to Mexico and I went to visit the Aztec pyramids, I was blown by the craftsmanship, because you can't think that people that existed hundreds or thousands of years ago can build something like this. Like, what's cool about it is that when you stand there and you clap, right? With people, they told us as a group to clap, right? It started giving this echo, which made it seem like a big roar because of the way they designed it. And they would tell the people that that's the God replying, right? That's before they sacrificed the Virgin. I was just blown away by the human ingenuity at that time, right? And I can't even comprehend how they even managed to build something like that without the technology that we have right now. And that's only a couple thousand years ago, let alone for me to go back millions and billions of years and try to comprehend other planets and the solar system around us. Like, we have millions of dollars worth of billions of dollars worth of trained scientists and equipment and infrastructure to try and comprehend this stuff. And we are still not even close to understanding space. You know what I mean? Like, even like with this billionaire, all he did was he didn't even leave the Earth's atmosphere. He's still within it, right? And even then, we can't comprehend the distance from the ground and what he's able to see. And like, we think that's far, that's space. No, he didn't even leave the Earth.
I think the reality is that Star Trek is cool. Star Trek is real cool. I don't think that's feasible because I don't think Earth is massive. We don't even realize how big Earth is. Rand Coogler. The guy, he basically directed Black Panther.
Yep.
And he said that map in geography, that's a lie. Because he said that, so he basically took it, because he took a flight to Africa to try and to research for the film. And he said that the amount of time it took to cross over Egypt and South Africa and so I said, no. Africa is a lot bigger than what it says on that map.
Yeah, that's true.
And what does that do to you? And what does that do to you psychologically? Because see, all this is just mind game. You see, that map that we now all use was drawn up by a white guy or a bunch of white dudes. The real geography map should have Africa being this huge, gargantuan mammoth right in the center with all this little. Because I think Africa is a lot bigger. Because you said, no, the way that we are flying all this thing, this feels a lot larger and a lot bigger than what that map shows. So hence why it makes sense that we all came from Africa. And because you see all this because it's obvious. Super hundreds of years ago, there was just one landmass.
Yep.
And due to erosion, weather, whatever, it just broke away. But it makes sense that Africa, it was at the center and just one massive landmass that has just been eroded away. And so hence why Europe just looks dispersed and so forth. So it's like,
and you could push all the pieces together. Like I saw a map where once they
push it together and it will make
it fits
the whole.
Yep.
So let me just take some of these jobs. So from David Oladele, thank you for the job. He says that flat Earth exposes people's inability to divide facts and a belief. I don't believe in flat Earth, but you quickly realize that beliefs in a ball are based on beliefs about NASA and other narratives in society. You see, my thing is because it was basically Kyrie is, I think, the most famous flat earther that I know. The b-ball player.
Yep.
And my thing is, a lot of the guys who are flat earth guys, you could argue are conspiracy theorists and don't really believe everything that sort of the government and the system says. And for me, I'm a bit like that, hence why I say that I don't just take what the government tells me. I just always try to question. But yeah, no, basically, flat earthers, you're not bringing facts to the table. It's a belief. And a belief that you're just going to stick with, because again, there are no facts you can use to support your claim that the earth is flat, And I think that basically that beliefs in a ball are based on beliefs about NASA and other narratives in society. Yeah. So see, this is the difficulty. People believe that, if you believe in this sphere, you believe in the white man and NASA and all this kind of stuff. It's like, no, forget that. Forget science, forget NASA. Logic. Just use logic. Pure common sense and logic that has nothing to do with NASA, physics, or whatsoever states that no, this is a sphere. Because when I was super young, I was like, well, yeah, of course the earth is flat when I was super young. Then when I now because when I was in physics, I was like, okay, this is a bit difficult to understand because I couldn't really understand it when I was in physics. Science, I was a brick. But I was like, no, just think about it in a logical sense that, yeah, it makes sense that it's a ball because because a plane can continuously keep going because there are no edges. If there are no edges, it's got to be a circle. That's what
Can you open the screen that I shared?
Okay, so let me just let's go back there and I'll come to you. So from David Oladile, he says that I don't have a belief in flat Earth, not because I know for sure it's wrong, but mostly because I don't understand the science enough to critique it. Some flat earthers have really good arguments that are difficult to rebut.
See, David, you're right. Like the thing is, but like David, like you have to be careful because just because something makes sense doesn't make it true. The reason why I believe that, for example, Earth is round is because you could actually scientifically prove that with just scientific method. That makes it reasonable. Yes, you're right that we are conforming. We are at the whim of NASA. Like they control the narrative and then other space organizations. But to be honest with you, man, like I would rather that than just random guys on the internet that just say things that make sense. Because like I said, like when just because something sounds like it's possible doesn't mean it is. That we have to, for the sake of like how we perceive society and how we build and physics and everything, it all goes based off of these theories that the Earth is round. This is how we account. It's just how the world works right now. So for us to disprove it and make it flat, it changes everything. Like, and there's no evidence for it being flat. Like, there's literally not one single piece of scientific evidence that you could prove that the Earth is flat.
There's no flat. No.
If it's flat, bro, you can find an experiment. Like I said, Galileo was able to prove that the Earth is round way before NASA existed, just with a bowl with a fish. He had he got a fish, he put it inside a bowl, and he spun it. Okay, so this right here, the black outline is what the current world map is, what they teach you in school. If you look at like Greenland, you see Greenland up there in the
so the black is the current map.
And the green is the actual world, how it looks like. You see how massive Africa is, how Africa stems from South America all the way. It's as big. Canada and you can see the US are tiny. You could fit Canada, US all inside of Africa. It's huge. But that's how it actually is, and like Africa's way more stretched to the bottom, and Greenland, if you actually look at it, it's actually at the top right there. It's tiny. In the maps, they always make it look, Greenland, they always make it look like it's huge, right? When it's in reality, it's tiny. It's not even. It's like as big as Egypt almost. It's not even that big, but they make it seem huge. And
okay, so the grid is how the world looks now.
Yeah, that's it. And you know what the problem is, HH? Like what caused this big misconception is when they were trying to design the globe, the actual spinning globes, they didn't know how to properly set it up. So a lot of the northern territories ended up being stretched out, right? Like you have Europe, North America and Russia all ended up being stretched out on the top, and Greenland as well. Whereas like the middle ones, were Africa, the Middle East, China, India, all ended up like getting the short end of the stick, right? Look at the black outline, how China and Russia and all these, the middle, all of them ended up being so tiny, but in reality, they're all huge. There's actually there's a YouTube video of this. I forgot what she's a geography teacher, and she like pretty much explains it all into like with detail. You guys can go look that up about how this one guy who designed the globe ended up screwing everything over, and he's the reason why a lot of maps nowadays are like wrong. They're just flat out wrong. Like you look at like Greenland is as big as what's it called? As it's bigger than Australia, which that's not true. Australia is a massive continent. Greenland's half as big as Africa, which is not true. The thing is, Africa is what makes like Africa and South America in particular, like because people always talk about colonization of these nations. They couldn't ever go into the actual continent, into the middle of it. It was always around the waters, and they would make deals with the people with the cities on there to really transport people over. Like for example, in Mario, I think his name was Mario the Killer. Mario, he was.
So this isn't Luigi's brother. This is another Mario.
No, a different Mario. Yeah, his name is Cortez the Killer. Sorry, Cortez the Killer. And there was another guy called Mario. But Cortez, he was migrating from Portugal and Spain to South America, and he was like part of one of the big four that really went there and really caused a lot of the the massacres and the taking over there. Like, and how they do it, HH, is not by actually going into the continent and conquering. No. They would cut deals with people around the edges that would really sell off people to them, and they take them in, they teach them the language, and then they'd go back in a couple of years later with a translator, and they'd go and try to reach the leader, and then they'd capture the leader, and they'd bribe him, and like they take over the head of the pyramid and get the whole country to work for them. But then slowly over time, they would also infect them with diseases and stuff. This is more for South Africa, South America, more so than Africa. Africa, there's a whole different history, and it's a bit more darker over there. Well, they're both huge, very dark. But yeah.
Okay.
I went off topic with that one. My bad, guys.
No. Look, we read it. There is no such thing as off topic in this whole thing. Like we're just
talking.
Yeah. We're just basically we have loose topics, but we just talk and we don't know wherever the whole thing will go through because we're just trying to look. We are kicking it. Would you, if you have the opportunity, and you could live like on Mars? Because basically, I always joke and say that. Yeah, man, I'm going to go to my, my Mars base, live with my Martian people. If, let's just say that next year or next 5 years, you can live on Mars, operate and so forth. Would you actually want to live on Mars? And this goes for everyone in the live chat as well, guys. Would you, if you had the chance to go to Mars to live on Mars, would you guys want to live on Mars?
I'll be honest with you, I have a friend where once I told him, like, man, like come to Canada, apply. Like, he's married, he's migrant, he could apply. And he told me, man, I'm too Arab to go there. Yeah, he said, I'm too Arab. I love it here. He said, I can't go to the Western countries. He just loves it back home. So I ever since then, I'm like, you know what? I'm too Earth to go to Mars. I love it here. I love it. You know what? Vacationing in like Europe or South America, or vacationing going to some of these beautiful places. Why would I go to Mars? It's just a brown dusty ball.
See, my thing is that it's weird because I've got to now try to be honest. There is a part of me that loves exploration. Hence why I love traveling. Like when I lived in Geneva for 2 years and I just mixed with different cultures, I was like, oh wow, I'm a guy that I love to explore different things. So there's a part of me there's the curious part of me that's like, wow, to just see a different planet would be freaking insane. But then there's another part of me that's more realistic in the sense of like, be real. Do you really want to leave this planet?
Yeah.
Because once you leave this planet, all bets are off. You see, I understand the gravity, understand what's it called? If you do this drops. I understand the rules of how this thing works. You now want me to take me to a place where all these rules are because if you go on Mars, all bets are off. It's different. Yeah. You're dealing with a wholly different set
your
of
face,
rules.
your face structure changes. Your eyes bulge out and your face becomes a bit more round when you go to space. If you look at astronauts, actually, it's a real thing. Astronauts, they tend to, when they go, their face actually changes. If you actually look at them, they're always like bulging eyes and stuff because of that gravity change. Like your body, like I predict I don't think we'll ever go to space in our lifetime. I think we're still light years away from that kind of progress. But I do believe if we do go and we do migrate to Mars, that's going to change the evolution of man. Because as human beings, like our bodies are adapt, right? Like if you live close to coastal areas, you'll have a more slim build. Your body will be more like skinny and like more abs because like you're more near the water, and your body needs to be more leaner just to be able to fish and be more agile. If you live in more mountainous areas, you tend to be a bit more huskier. Your body, you start getting more body hair.
Yeah. No, because
you know what I mean?
That's what they said, that like white people didn't look like white people. Yeah, before they landed in those cold areas, because the conditions and so forth molded their face and so forth in that way.
Like for example, like for me, like the region that I'm from Syria, and like the region that I'm from it's a mountain area. We get way more snow than here in Canada, right? So like that's why, for example, you see.
So everyone in your region has your complexion.
Yeah. Most it depends, because there's some people that migrate there, and go back. So you're gonna have like obviously some intermixing, but like typically the people that are old school, they tend to have like kind of my complexion. Yes, they're like a bit darker because I'm a bit more on the ginger side, so my skin is a bit whiter, but they do get that white that can tan as well, because they're we're just like an hour away from Damascus, which is a desert, but because we're near Jabal al-Sheikh, which is like the Sheikh mountain between Lebanon and Syria.
Sorry. Have you seen Lawrence of Arabia?
Yeah, of course. Yep.
Because when he said the Damascus, it just reminded me of Lawrence of Arabia.
Absolutely. Yeah. No, so like so when like what's it called? like you can see like where like my beard and my facial hair and all that stuff, it comes because I come from that region, right? So when you send humans to Mars, it's gonna I would be interested to see like their, how can I say this, the evolution of man, right? Like how different gravity would affect change. They'd probably be more bloated, you know what I mean, because there's less holding them down, there's less weight.
So let's just get, so because I want to come to a comment that someone said. So Chain, so thank you for the job. It says 2030s first step Mars, decades from living there. I'm not sure whether we're going to be living in Mars anytime soon. I think that's just a pipe dream. First, I don't even believe that we even step foot on the moon. So before saying that 2030 we're going to step on Mars, did we even land on the moon? I don't think so. If it is land on the moon, who's to say that we're going to land on Mars, man? So I'm doubtful on that. Now, here's something. We can start over on Mars because Earth is shit. Here's the thing, and this is, and people may say that I am morbid or negative saying this. Let's paint a picture. Earth is messed up. We screwed over the ozone layer, and the Earth is about to just completely destroy itself. And it's 2050. I'll just paint a picture. It's 2050, and Mars is now a feasible place. So the last remnants of people on Earth, they take spaceships, rocket ships, go over to Mars, and they go to restart. You know, we're going to end up right back where we were on Earth. What makes you believe that, especially humanity, when we know how cancerous humanity can be, that if you go to a different planet, we will not make the same mistakes again? There's something within us that wants to plow, investigate, rupture, cause war. Look at how we're screwing over the Amazon rainforest, the climate. That it's just in our nature to mess stuff up. So maybe the first group will be cool. Second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth generation will just do what we've been doing here on Earth. So
man has one thing that no other like pretty much creature in existence has, and that's free will and a brain that could actually develop and actually form ideas. So for us, our free will goes both ways. We could choose to be good or evil. We could choose to be greedy or generous. We could choose. We choose these kind of options. And to be honest with you, greed is very, very, very. It's very powerful, right? Like it's hard for somebody to really cut off, like,
and tempting.
Yeah, it's very tempting. It's very hard to really turn that down. Like it's easy for somebody like me who is a have-not, who doesn't really have that much money, to me criticize Jeff Bezos and be like, "You have so much money, you should be helping these people." But if I were in his shoes, would I be making that same decision, or I'd be just like him, be like, "Well, I earned this money. Why would I give it away?" You know what I mean? Like it's easy when you don't have to be generous with someone else's money. You know what I mean? And to be generous, like, because ultimately any problem that we have on this planet is man-made. When you talk about world hunger, that's because somebody else is being greedy and taking food from those people's mouths. The food is there on the planet. We just decide to take it. If somebody's homeless, there is space on this planet. We're just choosing not to help these people out.
There's lots of space.
Every problem, any problem that you see on this planet is man-made. Even natural disasters, it's due to greed by these corporations who tend to go fracking. They go and they tend to want to do mass production, so which increases the heat, which causes more evaporation, which causes more rainstorms and more of this stuff. Every problem on this planet, people to be like, "Oh well, why, if God exists, how come all this stuff happens to us?" No, it happens because we are really treating our planet like shit because we're being greedy, right? So obviously, like this is what causes it. So going to another planet really doesn't change anything. We're just going to do the same thing there. What's going to happen? What I predict, if we do go to another planet, what's going to happen is we're going to end up just starting an interplanetary war. It's going to be Earth versus Mars, right? You go to Mars, and be like, "Oh, look at this Earthy right here," and they just beat you up. You know what I mean? Like, there's going to be like hate crimes and stuff like that because they're probably going to be different. Like, we're just going to, as human beings, we will find a way to fuck it up.
See, Red, I love that you said that. Because obviously, you watch Star Trek, don't?
I watched like one season. I just couldn't get into it, to be honest.
Basically, the idea of Star Trek is cute, but it's not real. Because Gene Roddenberry, who basically started, he said that, you know what? Hundreds and hundreds of years, humanity is going to evolve to a stage where racism doesn't exist, sexism doesn't exist. There's no sort of prejudice, and we've just advanced ourselves, which is obviously cute. But my thing is that no. Hence why we're obviously going to talk about racism in our next topic. That is part of human nature, of wanting to fight, wanting to have war, indifferences. Human beings can't help themselves and will always feel the need to fight. So hence, if we go to a different planet or so forth, we'll find a way of creating conflicts there. There is nothing you can do to human beings. There's no way you can take humanity that will take out a sense of greed and a sense to have war. Because people always say no. Hence why the idea of communism doesn't make sense. Of sharing. No, I want more than him.
That's true.
Communism why should I have because communism is against ultimate human nature. Ultimate human nature is I want this for me because people at their core are greedy. Yep. People in general at their core are greedy. No, I want this for myself. Why do I have to do this for myself? No, I worry about mine and my family first, and my family and so forth comes before this person I don't know. So hence why you see, right, the biggest thing is if aliens invaded like in Halo, like if the Covenants actually invaded and so forth, like in the Halo and so forth, would humanity actually come together as one?
Okay, hear me out. I have a saying. There's a saying in Arabic that says "Ana akhi ibn ammi wa ana ibn ammi al gharib," which means me and my brother against my cousin. It's me and my cousin against a stranger. You know what I mean? So like if you were to beef with your cousin, you and your brother would be on each other's side, right? But if your cousin were to beef with somebody else, let's say your cousin beefed with me, you're going to be on your cousin's side, right? So human beings, if there was an alien force attacking us, we would unite. All of a sudden, you'll find peace in the Middle East. Like you'll find black and white putting their sides, like differences aside. You'll find all beef will be squashed to go after this common enemy. Now, I will say this, HH, racism and other like how can I say this sort of hostile behavior towards the other or something that's foreign. It doesn't just exist in man, by the way. If a bee were to go into a different hive that's not its hive, it would get killed. It would get destroyed. If an ant were to go into a different hive, it would get destroyed. There's actually ants, red ants and black ants, tend to like fight a lot over with each other.
Yeah.
There's
no. Sorry, someone did this experiment. They said that if you put a bunch of ants in like a bottle or something, they just walk around. If you now shake it, they'll start fighting each other.
Yeah, they will start railing each other because they'll be like so. And that just like that happens with that. Now, I do want to make a quick note just for somebody in the chat. I don't believe in NASA. I don't, not that, because like I'll be honest with you, like when I talk, I'm just giving my opinion as a regular guy. Same thing with HH. Like we're both. I don't believe I'm.
These are just regular guys talking, man.
Exactly. Like I don't believe that I'm educated enough to really disprove or criticize them or say that yes or no or I don't. And with the Nazi thing, yes, you are right. Absolutely. After World War II, a lot of those Nazis were bailed out by the American government, the leaders of the Nazis, and they were brought into their organizations. Like you can actually look this up. A lot of the founders of NASA, a lot of like the people in the U.S. Army and the U.S. Navy are former Nazis. They were actually rescued by the U.S. in the trial of Nuremberg, where they found them innocent based off the fact that you can't blame certain people because of the whole structure was that. So I do understand that like background, but like bro, just because let's say for example NASA has sketchy background, we cannot therefore justify flat Earth, like as if like
no.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like just because one thing is shaky, it doesn't mean that the other thing is automatically right.
So let me bring this because we have to move on to the next.
Yeah, go ahead.
So Chainsaw says, thank you for the dub. Chain says China moon this decade, our beliefs our biggest weakness. So what does that mean?
So they're going to the moon this decade. That's what he means. They're going to like they're planning to, like this decade they will be going, and that I'm excited for. That's why I said
let's see. No, for me, if China do make it to the moon, let's see. Animo says, HH, if you or Red or anyone in the chat believe in NASA, then look up the founder, Werner van Buren. Yep. He was a Nazi. Look up his suspect. So who was this dude?
I'm actually going to copy his name because I do want to search it.
Yeah. And obviously, if you search it and just bring it up and just see what it says before we move on to the next topic.
Sounds good. But go ahead.
So what he does out. I am not a NASA merchant or a NASA fanboy. I use logic. I told you, watch Capricorn 1. Because after saw Capricorn 1, I am the last guy who's not going to believe anything that comes out of NASA, Houston, or so forth. So all I'm just saying is, with regards to the world being a sphere, it has nothing to do with NASA. It just does with my logic and my common sense and the brain that I use. I use my logic and common sense. It sounds like flat Earth doesn't really pop off. So maybe to find it or
Yeah, I did. I'm just reading it real quick just before I post it, because he posted a Bible verse on his tombstone, but I can't seem to find the Bible verse. I want to read it because what it says right here: a Nazi engineer who created the V2 rocket had a Bible verse 1 on his gravestone. Out of all the verses, he chose one of the few verses talking about the firmament. I'm not Christian, so I really don't know what the firmament is. Does anybody know? Opie? Okay, I know. Okay. Sorry, the guy who posted it is a hardcore flat earther, so I'm gonna find something else that isn't. Let's see. Cemetery contains the grave of who died 1977. Yeah, he's one who designed it. He's an ex-Nazi, that is confirmed. But I just want to see what the. You know what? I'm gonna Google that Bible verse. Then God said, "Let there be a firmament in the midst of the waters, and let it divide the waters from the waters." Thus God made the firmament and divided the waters which were under the firmament from the waters which were above the firmament, and it was so. And God called the firmament heaven. Okay, I see what it is. Okay. Here, I'm going to show you this, HH. Share this. So this is what the firmament is. I'm according to the Bible, or like what somebody perceives is the Bible's explanation. I'm going to share the screen 1 second. I think which one? Yeah, this is it. Okay. Yep. So this is the firmament. Now he chose this Bible verse to put on his tombstone, by the way, and that's the Nazi engineer, the guy who founded NASA.
Oh, so a Nazi founded NASA.
Yeah, that's the guy that was in the super chat. He was one of the original founders, and he developed the V2 rocket as well. And on his tombstone, this is what, according to the super chat, like when I just Googled it, and it's true. Like this is what he put on it, like a verse about it. And this is the Rakia or firmament, like according to. Now, again, this is all just based off somebody's interpretation, so it's not really like this. When you open up the Bible, you don't see this picture. Yeah, but the thing is like, I don't like, again, when it comes to all this stuff, like, guys, like, it is deep. I go based off of what I can test myself, right? Like, so when it came to like the round Earth, like when the spherical Earth, which is what I believe in, you could easily, like I said, look up experiments to prove the Earth is round, right? And you could literally just prove it from home. Like I said, a fishbowl. Just get a fishbowl, get a fish, put it in water, and then rotate. And as you are rotating the Earth, like moving it, everything inside it remains stationary, and the Earth, it changes and around the sun. Like, I don't know, because like even here, like if you look at this, like how does the sun and moon, how do they rotate around this? Where does it go? And if the sun, we already know how big the sun is. We could actually estimate it by the distance from it. So if the sun is that big and the Earth is flat, then it would be eternal day. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I'm not really nearly educated enough to really disprove or prove this, but yeah.
Okay, look, but let's keep moving. Let's keep moving.
Go ahead. Yep.
So, let's talk about being a foreigner. Let's talk about being a foreigner, man. So, quick question to everyone in the live chat is, and I think, based on what I hear from guys and so forth, I think this might be a quite high number. How many of you guys are, let's say, considered foreigners in the country you're in? So, i.e., you emigrated, or you immigrated from another country to live in that said country. That's what I want to. Okay, so obviously, Red, you obviously would class yourself as.
I'm a foreigner. I was born in Syria. I grew up most of my life here in Canada, yes, and I grew up in Syria too. I lived in both countries. I lived about there 10 years, and I lived here about 17.
So you were born in Syria.
Yeah, I was born in Syria. Like, my dad was Canadian from before. Like, he was. My dad came here in the early 80s, and he worked here, and like he had his like late teenage years to his mid 20s. He came back to Syria. He got married to my mom. He had me and my older sibling and my younger sibling. And then we came here in 97, and I was born in 94. So I stayed here from 97 all the way up until 2004. 2004, I went back there for 2005. No, I went all the way up to 2003. Went back there for 2004, came back here for 2005, and then went back there for 2006. Lived there from 2006 up until 2012, and then the 2011. Then the Civil War broke out, and that's when my parents moved me here. And I stayed here from 2011 till late 2011 till now.
So I think the reason why I want to bring this up is how the country you're in treats you. So it's how the country you're in treats foreigners and how the country is, and really your experience. So I sort of went into this during the Saka Rashford video that I did about. Maybe just I'll reiterate it here. So obviously, I was born in London. Then when I was like 2 or 3 years old, maybe like 1 or 2 years old, I then moved to Nigeria. So I did my nursery school and primary school in Nigeria. I spent 2 years in Geneva. Then in 98, I came here to England and so forth. And my thing now this is just my experience. My experience is English people or English culture make it known that you are a foreigner and you are not English. And they make that very well known to you. And see, other people have different experiences and so forth, but the experience that I had was like, especially in school was, no, you are not truly English unless you are white and you were born there. See, now it's even a crazy experience for people who were born here, lived here, who are not white. But for a guy who, even if you were born here, but you're not white, but let's say you now come from a different country, they remind you that no, you are foreign, you're foreign. Hence why I said that I can't root for England. It makes no sense for me to root for England, because how can I root for a country where the people constantly tell me that, they insult the country I'm from, they insult my accent, they insult what I look like and so forth. And they remind me that no, the true English people are guys who are white and indigenous of this country. So the experience for the foreigner living in England isn't that great an experience, because see, English people are extremely xenophobic. Hence why it's going to be very interesting, because obviously I want to hear what the Canadian experience is like, and also want to hear some experiences from you guys here, because the reason for this is England is a very old country. Hence why that is where the English arrogance comes from. So the English arrogance comes from how old the country is, how influential it is, and how much of the world they controlled via the British Empire. So that sense of entitlement and ownership, they are very, very protective over who comes through and who claims to be English. Again, for me as well, before Margaret Thatcher came into power, you just had to live for 5 years and then you can now apply to be an English citizen. Because the funny thing is that when I was applying for my citizenship and I was taking like the test, the lady said, "Wait a minute, why are you taking this test? You were born here." But I told her that, well, your sister Thatcher was like, no, even if you're born here and so forth, if your parents are of a different country, no. Because obviously America is different. In America, as long as you're born on American soil, you're American. But Thatcher changed the ruling, like, no, it doesn't matter whether you're born here, it's where your parents are from. So my thing is that English people, they're very protective of their culture, their history, and so forth. So they don't want everyone sort of latching onto that. Hence why it's a very interesting moment in time in England, because hence why this now links into the English football team, because there's like a tug of war. There are people that want England to move into the 21st century of multiculturalism, blending guys together, which is what you see in France, for example. But then the other guys were like, no, let's just use these Indians, these blacks, these Pakistanis, these Chinese to help build up the country. But these guys don't come anywhere near the royal family, higher echelons of society, and nowhere. Because I always say this to guys, America's messed up. And I get it. Like, America's messed up, with the guns and so forth. And you'll especially like this, Red. The Jay-Z story could never happen in England.
Yeah, no, absolutely not. Yeah.
And this is even something that my big brother told me. See, because my big brother, he's lived in England, he's lived in America, and my big brother told me that if you're good and you're successful, you can make it in America. You being good and successful doesn't mean anything in England, because England have barriers to entry. They're like, no, it doesn't matter how talented you are or how good you are. No. Hence why I look at guys like an Ian Wright, Eleni Henry, and so forth, and I laugh. And see, now this may sound harsh, and I'll discuss this with my brother. If a black guy tells me he's American, I believe him. If a black guy tells me that he's French, I believe him. If a black guy tells me that he's Italian, I don't believe you. If a black guy tells me that he's English, I don't believe you. Based on how those things are. So yeah, so that's my thing there is that, and even forget black and white, the Polish.
Yep.
If you see how the English people treat Polish people here, it is crazy. They hate the Polish people, man. They hate these guys. So talk to me about the Canadian experience, bro.
So I just want to mention one quick thing just to like tie your point into like what I'm going to talk about is that we have to. There's a big difference between the old world and the new world. The new world being Latin America and North America. Both of those in those nations. There's
key point
because with that there's So in Canada, you can be. You can only be culturally Canadian. There is no real Canadian. The Native Americans or the natives are the real Canadians. For us, you can only be culturally Canadian. So as long as you're part of the culture, then you are Canadian. My experience is the government has always treated me like any other Canadian. Opportunity have always been equal with it. Now, of course, you have.
What about like culture?
Yeah, I think it's Canada's a great melting pot. Like in the area that I'm from, area where I am, which is like near Toronto, like GTA, Windsor, London, Kitchener, all these like cities. They're very diverse. Now, obviously, you're gonna have certain sects of people that are going to be a little bit ignorant towards our society, like towards me or my religion or something like that. But like overall, like the general treatment. You very much have it's very opening opportunities. You're not really limited. Like I do very much consider myself Canadian just as much as I am Syrian. Like that, whenever somebody asks me like, what are you? I'd be like, I'm Syrian, but I also say I'm Canadian, right? And I'm proud of both. I am proud to call myself Canadian because like there are some things that the Canadian government does like I do feel shame for in certain stances they have internationally, politically, where I feel like they don't stand up for human rights in certain aspects, even though we should pride ourselves on that. But like where I do feel like, but I feel shame because I am Canadian. I feel like my country should do better, right? So I do differ from you there in that aspect. But the reason for that, HH, is that in England, a lot of, let's say, the Tories, for example, which are like the far right, that really are the ones that usually exclude the immigrants. And
wait. No. See, again, we have to just be careful here. Tories, see, far right, you're talking about BNP, EDL.
Oh no, not far right. Sorry, but like the right wing. The right wing. Yeah. My bad. I'm so used to far right and far because of like this whole recent years how it's been. But like with them, a lot of these people can trace their lineage back hundreds of years to lords and stuff like that, right? So they have the sense of ownership on it. And a lot of people that left for North America, a lot of the English that left, and the Irish and the Scottish, and like the people that left that left Europe for North America, they left because of the persecution that they were facing in their countries, the injustice, right? And that's why you said like the Jay-Z story can't happen in the UK. It's because Jay-Z can go and claim that he's American just as much as any white person there, right? There's no what I forgot what it's called, the genetic aspect of it, right? There's no, because you can't ever be like, well, I'm genetically American. There is no, you can show 10 different Americans or 10 different Canadians, and each one of them would look different. Like each one of them, they're all just as much Canadian as the other, unless they're natives, which natives they have, I believe, ultimate right over the land. I believe we also mistreat them there, and they need better rights. But they need more. I mean, not better rights, but like more. I feel like the government needs to give them more, because even right now, like I don't know if you guys have heard, but in Canada, we have this thing in a part of our history, residential schools. Now, residential schools, they would take natives from their families and from their tribes, and they put them in schools to teach them religion, Catholicism, and they would teach them how to speak English and educate them. Now, recently, there was a construction site where they were digging up, and they discovered around 3,000 bodies, or no, 2,000 bodies of children that were dead. And now the Native community has been speaking for years about how there's over 20,000 missing persons from their communities over time. And by the way, for people that might say like, oh well, this was a long time ago. This was the last residential school was closed I think in like 1997. So like it's pretty recent. So there we do have that kind of history of mistreatment towards them. So like I'm not saying that Canada's like this holy land that everybody's accepted. We have our history with oppression. We have our history with bigotry, racism, all that stuff. So it's tough. But, and I'm not saying this to say that like Canada is better than Europe or anything like that. It's just that this is where that xenophobia comes from Europe. Is that these people that have been there, been on that land for hundreds of years, they have that sense of ownership over the land. And when they see a new generation, especially when it's somebody that doesn't look like them, whether he's Asian, whether he's black, whether he's brown, whether he's whatever his background is, it's very what's it called? It's very easy for them to be like very overtly bigoted towards them.
Because it's like because again we're going to get into the Saka, Rashford thingy because I've got some very key things to say about that. But I think it's a very key point that you made, which is a really good point, which is old world versus the new world. And it's so funny because even before we did this, I was even thinking about this in my head. I was like, see, there are benefits of the old world in terms of, some traditions and so forth, but the benefits are not that great. Because I've always found it weird how, maybe it's because I've lived in England, so I know England inside and out, and I really know how the English mind thinks, so I can see through all the BS. I've always found it fascinating how America are so obsessed with England. You see, England's greatest strength is how sensible they are. I believe that English people are the most sensible people in the world. Well, that and also they make the best actors. So, like, if you want to learn acting, you come to England. Nobody acts better than English. I just think English people if you just see how English people operate and the way that they're able to get through problems, they are very sensible people, and they are more sensible than a lot of other people. But my thing is that the issue with the old world, and I think someone even said it in the live chat, is they are obsessed with heritage, blood, and who you're related to. And that goes back to the very old way of thinking of kings, queens, princes, inheritance, and so forth, and being very protective. Because see, forget racism. The biggest thing about England is classism.
Yep.
England is probably the most classist country on the planet because they spit on the poor. Like,
and that's the thing I wanted to mention.
They rub it in your face that no, you are poor, you are not part of this society, and we will make sure that you are known that you don't earn this much, and you are here in society, and you're not up here. Up here is here, down here is down here, and we're going to rub it in your face.
And that's the thing I wanted to mention. It's just like I feel like in the old world, more so than racism. Like I know racism is very easy because it's much clearer to be, like it's much easier to point out racism because like when it's two different skin colors. I feel like in the old world, it's mostly what's it called? Not classist. It's classism, right? It doesn't matter because like you said, Polish people are white. Polish people are white with blonde hair. And they are subject to the same discriminatory discrimination as black people or like Asians or like what's it called, Arabs or brown people, whatever you want to like whatever race you are. Like it's the same because again it's a sense of ownership. It's the fact that they believe that this land is theirs historically, and realistically speaking, it is their land. The only thing is with England, France, Italy, Spain, Portugal, you guys kind of destroyed the world at one point. And you made a lot of these places uninhabitable, and you benefited off them. So you kind of are obligated morally to accept these people and bring them back. No, see, in Canada, it's much more covert, but it does exist. There's certain instances. I'm not gonna lie to you where I felt I was slighted because of my heritage, where I felt like, no joke, like even for promotions, like there was a reason I left my old job. Like I was at a job. No joke, I was top 10 in all of Canada. Mind you, I don't live in a major city. Like I don't, I live in a city around Toronto. But I was outselling people that were in Toronto, which like they get way more people in traffic. And when promotions came around, another guy got the promotion over me, right? Even though my like the.
But I've got a big question for you. So you kind of, if you walk into the room or you walk into the interview room,
Mm-hmm.
what does the white Canadian see when they just see? So they don't know your name, they don't know anything. What do they see when you walk into the room?
Do you want? But the thing is, he wasn't even white. He was Arab.
Oh.
He was Arab. But he picked somebody else. But you want to know? I felt slighted. I felt because he felt that because I was Arab that it's okay. He could do me like that, and that's why I felt slighted. And I quit.
Okay. He knew you were Arab.
Yeah. He's not my superior. He's my superior. But he knows me because he congratulated me many times on my numbers and everything like that.
Yeah.
And I felt slighted. I just and I'm not saying that because but even though he is of my race, that is, or like he is of my background, he is like that. I did feel that I was slighted based off my background, right? Because he probably felt like I can't give it to him because of his background. I have to do this to make this decision, right? Where in that sense, it's you're not going based off of meritocracy. I would sell that guy. They would give him the promotion. Not only that, before he became manager, because like they tend to change DMs a lot, district managers and stuff like that. So before he became that, I had a credit card with the company. They give you a credit card, and based off your performance, they reward you with points, and like you could use that as dollars. And I would get with my old DM, I would literally get around $300-400 a month on that credit card. When this guy came in a whole year, I didn't make $10. And I was selling just as much, but I wasn't being rewarded. I wasn't being that same reward. I felt like I was being slighted based off my background. Now, again, like even though he is of my same background, I still felt like it was because of that he did that. Not only that, there was in Canada, like we like,
no, but because the reason why I asked the question is okay, that's maybe a separate thing, but just in general, if let's say you go into a shop or a place and so forth, and a white Caucasian Canadian sees you, can they tell that, oh, this guy's Arab? Or they need to see your name?
That's the thing. I feel like, look, in all honesty, I feel like a lot of people that are subject to the most racism here are most likely the Arabs that look more Arab, Indians and Pakistanis, and I feel like Black and Asians. I feel like those people are, they do, especially because like, when you go to cities like Toronto, when you go to cities like Mississauga, Brampton, Vancouver, they're very, very diverse. Like you'll see more brown people in Mississauga and Brampton stuff than you'll see white people, right? So it's very, very diverse. In the surrounding cities and the surrounding areas, the smaller towns, that's where you see that. And sometimes people can get a little bit too comfortable around me. Like sometimes they'll like let's say they come into the store, they don't really look at like my name tag or anything like that. And this has actually happened. Like where a guy, this is back in like 2015, 2014. A guy came into my store and he was a construction worker, just a white guy, like from a small town around it. Like he comes in and we were talking and he starts talking about like, man, like since when was this mall taken care of? It's taken over by like brown people, Arabs, and all these Muslims and stuff like that. He was saying that. And I just smiled it off. I didn't care. I just wanted to go home. I'm just going to deal with him. Just get out of here. Like, I don't care. Like, to be honest with you.
Well, no, because you know what? You're Wentworth Miller.
Pardon?
And what? Do you know who Wentworth Miller is?
No, I don't.
Have you heard of Prison Break? The TV show. Prison Break, the TV show.
Basically, I've never watched it.
Basically, he's a guy that's in Prison Break, and this guy, he looks white. He looks completely Caucasian.
Yep.
But he's got black in him. But he just looks white. So what I say is that you're like a spy. Because a lot of stuff that white guys say, they will say it in confidence with other white people. Or people who they believe are white. So you can really get a nice little insight into the kinds of things that white people say or how they are thinking. Because it's good. It's like that. There's one skit that Eddie Murphy did. Eddie Murphy, like he had like surgery and he basically made himself look like a white guy. And then he can now see, and I'm not experiencing now the different things that white guys say, man. So I think, shout out to your boy Red Devil, man. Red Devil, what up, baby? He says that class is
facts. No,
class,
it is.
Class is the big thing, man.
I did want to mention one quick thing is like, and like the reason for that is like, again, like my experience, like I've never been judged based off of my looks again, because like the way I look, I don't really come off like that. But I've had friends directly, like they've told me straight up, like I had a friend of mine. He was African, but he's pretty much like grown up in Canada most of his life. Shouts out to you, Eric, if you're out there. But like he told me, like I get stopped by the police all the time, all the time. Like that was my experience. Like I've been stopped, yes, of course, but I've always speeding. But he tells me he gets stopped a lot by them in Canada, and I was surprised to hear that. not to mention there's a lot of things where a lot of times, like in certain communities, it's much easier for the police to go and be more aggressive here in Canada than they are in certain other ones. Like you'll see it. Like there's, I'm not saying that's very much like the U.S. because I know in the U.S. it's a big history, but in Canada it does exist. I'll be lying if I tell you it doesn't. Like I'm 100% sure.
Wait, what's you mean class or racism?
No, racism. I do believe racism. I do believe that there's because there's a certain like stigma around it, and like even like I'll be honest. Okay, so here's the thing. My ex, she was Colombian and she had a slight accent, like very slight. Like you can't really notice it, right? She worked at a call center once and she quit because she would they would make her cry. Like she'd call and like somebody would just go off, I can't understand you. Where do they even bring you people from? Yeah, and this is over the phone. She's at a call center and she's calling like on behalf of like not collection agencies or stuff like that, like for a cellular company, for let's say promos and offers. And she would get a ton of abuse, right? Based off of her just the way she talks. And again, her accent is not thick at all. She's actually very intelligent. She's actually the reason me and her broke up is because she traveled abroad to study because she's becoming a neurosurgeon. Like she's very intelligent. But I remember like I was when like that she was subject to these kind of things and like based off just her accent. So
but why? What was her accent like though?
It's just like your standard like Latino accent, but like it's very light. Yeah. It's very
hey, papi, hey, papi, hi, papi.
Yeah, but it's not even like that. Like when you actually talk to her, like you honestly wouldn't even be able to pick up on her accent. It's just very light. Like I can't hear her because obviously I've known her for so long, so like, I can understand her perfectly. But still, like she was that intelligent. She was
but it's the accent is gonna catch. Hence why my mom was always big on me saying that. Look. You have to speak properly. You know, moms will say you have to speak and I said, wait, what do you mean by proper? You know, because obviously my mom is obviously old school and so forth and everything. So she still has this high kind of like romanticized view of England. But it's like because I made a choice because I was like, okay, look, because guys used to obviously, mock my accent. That's look how you say it, blah blah. So I could have easily just been like, oh shit, let me just ignore this and just assimilate it. Like, you know what? No, why do I have to assimilate them?
I just want to respond. Like, I like for you, saying these people they picked up on it. I swear to you, it's just because they picked up on an accent that doesn't sound like regular Canadian, and that's why they went at her. Because my friends who are Indian, same thing. They speak in a very they speak in a very clear way where you can understand them 100%. But they have the classic Indian accent, and they get judged. I had my roommate. He was Cantonese and he was studying to be a doctor. This was back in like 2012, and he was same thing with him. And he told me flat out in certain groups and stuff like that. Like he started working on his accent because he said the Cantonese accent gets him no pussy. That's what he told me. Literally, he told me like people would judge him differently based off of the way he talks and because of his background. Now, I do believe it's not all racism. I do believe there's some cultural elitism. Where people, if they believe that we have a term that we call people here commonly, fob, fresh off the boat, right? Like, so for example, I was considered a fob when I came here in 2011 because even though I don't have the accent, my vocabulary wasn't up to par. I was so subconscious and I was so hurt by being called a fob that I would actually read, the dictionary.
So when you came in, you were just completely.
No, when I came back, I could speak English, but because I left Canada when I was like in the 5th grade. So when I came back, I'm in high school, but my English comprehension was at a 5th grade level, right? Because I only watched movies to maintain my English, but I didn't have the vocabulary. You know what I mean? So yeah, there you go, Trudon. You know what's up, bro? You know what's up. I'm from London, by the way. Yeah, So what's it called? He like what's it called? So fob, like fresh off the boat. So like they use that a lot. So like there's some cultural elitism, bro. I know I don't, but like, bro, people used to call me it was mostly my family and people around me that would call me that, but like my cousins from here, but like still like we do use that term a lot where you'll see like Asians who grew up here or Indians that grew up here will look at their own people and call them fobs and side with, let's say, for example, people who were here before and make them feel more comfortable in sharing that hatred or sharing that, not hatred, but that bigotry. right here. But to be clear, this is like 2%, right? What's it called? No, it's not family banter. Like I said, this is in schools. Fab the line. Like if you go into schools here in Canada, typically elementary school, it's all mixed. Once you go to high school, it's very cliquey, man. Very cliquey based off of your nation. You just gravitate towards your people. They all just split up. Like I'm pretty sure anybody here who is in Canada can attest to that. When you get to high school, it gets all cliques, man. And the people who are like, let's say for example, Canadians who like Arabs who, let's say, or Indians or Asians or that who have been here before, they tend to be like their own clique, and they won't even let other Arabs in it. Like my family would do it, and that's I'm not calling my family obviously racist towards me. They started it, but it makes other people around them be more emboldened to say it, even though I felt very uncomfortable because like I can't help my English. I'm trying my best. I'm trying to educate myself and get better. But when they call you that, it just does make you feel very much like an outsider. Yeah, bro, I am too. I am too, bro. I call fobs too. I call people fobs too. But like, I don't mean to say to their face, I'm like, man, no, he's like that because he's a fob, bro. Leave him alone, bro. Like,
so let's get on to this whole Rashford and thingy fiasco, man. Let's get in on this right now. So here's the thing, man. Mm-hmm. Here's the thing. So obviously, as you well know, this was oops, there you go. So as you well know, look, these guys missed a penalty, and then suddenly there was all this racism. Now, do you know what I heard apparently? Because all these guys that use this incident thing, because they said that a lot of the people that actually so imagine people. These guys, they said that a lot of the people who sent the abusive stuff were actually like Indian. Or Indian or Pakistani or so forth. Like these guys would be like made up these troll accounts and went to attack them, which is interesting. That is interesting. That is interesting. But the thing here is this is a wider issue here, because as I said, like, this was the best thing that could have happened, because I think it's like you have to understand what England is, and what England is, or rather what England isn't. It isn't a country that's really that really welcomes multiculturalism, because like England, I think it's split. It is split because there are a lot of people who are very welcoming of cultures. They said that London is probably one of the biggest cities in terms of intermarrying. So the amounts of mixed babies and mixed marrying of different races, London is one of the biggest. You know what is crazy that I found? Because I was watching an interview with do you know this rapper Paul Wall?
Yeah.
From rapper,
yeah.
So basically, because he's basically married to a black lady.
Yeah.
And he says that when they're in Texas, no one looks at them and everything. He said that when he now went to, I think he went to either New York or LA, one of these East Coast. I think it was New York. He went there.
I saw that interview.
And he said that they were the stairs and everything. It's like, oh, wow. So people have more issues of like a black and white couple in like a place like New York than they do in the South, which is what I am told is supposed to be the more racist place and everything, man. So the thing here is that England, like, especially for someone like Saka, and this is what I said to Saka before, is if you're black, are you really English? It's like, I don't think you are.
I mean, for me, I'm not like that's upon the person if it's what they believe. Like, the thing is like
no. But see, there's a difference between what you believe and what is. Those are two different things. So it's like, I mean, because in your view, like, let's say a black guy says they're English, do you truly believe that they are English?
For me, yeah. Like, because to be honest with you, it's just like my experience. I'll be honest with you, like pre like, let's say for example, like this new era, like the 2000s, I've always thought that England is more of a tolerant country out of the ones in Europe, because compared to like Italy and Spain and France, I feel like those ones are much more I don't know about France as much, but I know Italy and Spain and like Portugal, they're much harsher towards race is much more overt in those countries, like than more so than English. But England, I feel like just because it's English and it's more an accessible language that we all have. We were more subjugated to it. You know what I mean? But I've always like that's at least how I viewed it, because like growing up, growing up in Syria, a lot of the when we get media English media, like we had MBC3, we had Dubai One, we had all this stuff. We get a lot of English shows, right? Like English TV, not like American TV. Like a lot of English TV shows. And when I always saw it as like multicultured, right? And it always like sort of reminded me of Canada in a sense. I used to love like watching the shows. So that's why what's it called? That's why like for me I've never really had that view. So for me, like I've always considered like England to be like, whether you're black, whether you're Indian, like I even see like in England when you see like media or like news outlets, they have more diversity than let's say the US. You look at the US, they'll have mostly white people and there's just like one black guy. That's it. You don't see Indians, you don't see Asians, you don't see any of that kind of representation. When you see in England, they actually do have that kind of representation. It's not like I believe I always thought of as England as a more classist than it is racist. That's how I've always seen it.
But already you're now viewing it from the outside in.
Yep. I've not been on the ground. This is my perception on I've been watching TV.
Which is good. So yeah. Tell me more about your perception, because it's just to see the perception from someone who doesn't live in England.
Yeah, so like for me, like I said, like just like this, watching the media, just consuming media from England, and like seeing like England players, like again, like I grew up with like Ashley Cole being worshipped, right? I grew up with what's his name, like players like Thierry Henry being in England, like being an Arsenal hero. You know, Nicolas Anelka, Didier Drogba. Like you look at the English teams, they always had African players on them, and they always like they worship them. Like again, but this is like I said, my perception from the outside in. It wasn't until recently, really, that I've like Maz have been more open, especially like with a lot of the racism scandals that's been happening. Because like even with this, like the monkey emojis and all that stuff on Instagram, I don't have Instagram. I don't really go on there like that often, so I don't really follow any of these footballers and like that. But I do see on Twitter sometimes videos. Like I saw this one guy that went viral over this past week. When the video of Jadon Sancho and Rashford partying in the plane, he was like, "I'm disgusted. You guys fucked up, and you actually out here celebrating. It's as if you guys won the Euros." And stuff. But then there was a video of Pickford celebrating, and he was justifying it. And he was like, "Well, Pickford didn't send a sorry message, and then the next day went partying." And I'm like, "Bro, why do you guys feel the need to control these people? Like they're athletes. They played a competition. They lost to the better team. Life goes on. Why do you feel the need that now they have to be for the rest of their life apologetic to you as if you deserve anything? Like why? Like I just don't get that kind of mentality. If you know what I mean? Like,
I mean, no, but then this always goes to like. Because my thing is that why, because they've missed a penalty, why do you now go to their race? That's the thing. Why do you now go to someone's race? But this goes back to something that I had in school. Is that we would be like in an argument with someone, we're arguing, and then once, let's say, they are losing the arguments, man, you black piece of, you monkey. I'm like, whoa, how did this disagreements now go to something of my race? You know, and you see the very fact of
Chainsaw just said it. Beautiful. That's it. That's exactly it. It's because it's a low IQ attack. It's the first thing.
And also they know that is what can really get. It's okay. What can I say that can really get you? Let's go racial. So it's a very easy thing to go towards. But this is not, I told you in this last few days, just seeing the reactions from people. Because my thing is that people in England, I know specifically to guys, because I know Splash, Trudon, you guys live in England. Was anyone surprised by this? You see, Red, you're talking from the outside in, but anybody who's lived in, anybody who's lived in England will know that, yeah, man, it's like this isn't that surprising that there is a part of England that, of course, is welcoming and so forth. There's a part of England that is very, very like patriotic, hardcore England. Whoa, 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 whoa. So, and the key thing is that, Red, I'll tell you, there are guys who are like, no, you, it's like you not being able to get a ball inside the efficiency from 18 yards is worse than you using your platform to feed starving kids. It's wild because you see, but then it's bigger. See, you always have to look at the bigger picture. It's not about football. It's about Brexit. It's about the British Empire. It's about entitlement. Imagine how, because I was seeing all of the stuff that was being read. Man, imagine chainsaw. Even you said it's chainsaw. That imagine if England win this. So England left Europe. They did Brexit. We now win the European Championships. Oh my gosh, the tabloids would have a field day. That's yes, they did like Churchill rises again, the empire rises, so we'll rise. So basically, we left Europe and we conquered Europe. Come on, man. Come on.
Yep. Oh god, that would have been. I didn't even think about that, to be honest with you. I forgot about Brexit even happened. That would have been
Brexit, yeah.
See, I definitely understand. Like my eyes have been open. Like I said, I told you earlier. Like growing up, for me, the perception of England was always like that. I always thought of it as this multicultural land, and like I'm pretty sure, especially for these footballers, this is how I could relate to them. To be honest with you, like right now, it doesn't really look like I have red hair or like brown hair right now. But when I was younger, my hair was more orange. Just over time, it just gotten darker and darker and darker. And growing up for me, like anytime I would let's say I'm bantering somebody, I always used to talk a lot. I don't shut up, and I would always go back and forth with people. It really I had thick skin, and they would always make fun of me with one thing, and what is that? Just you're a redhead, carrot top, face,
man,
stuff like
ginger,
that.
Man, the amount of guys that's made fun of the ginger dudes, man.
Yeah. So like for me, I've always had I always thought whenever somebody makes fun of somebody's appearance, I always thought that's low hanging fruit, right? Like I think I'm like, that's not funny. I don't like making fun of whether they're fat, whether they're skinny, whether they're black, brown, whether like whatever that it is. This is how you were created. This is how you were born. I don't think that you should make fun of everybody. Everybody's beautiful. Everybody's perfect in their own way, and I don't think that
but people are just nasty. Human beings are nasty.
Yeah. But I say this, just real quick, I just want to land on this point. Like, I say this to say that, like, for a lot of people, a lot of like low IQ people who when they're mad, when they're really triggered and they can't get their things together, what are they going to go off of? The most basic thing immediately, your appearance. Like, that's it. You're this. All people like that are the problem. See, like all three of them are black. They missed it. Even though it was Sterling that even got them there in the beginning, it was Bukayo Saka that even got them to the beginning, getting there.
Because when you're angry and your emotions are high, you basically resort to the caveman complex of what's the easy thing. Boom, let's go. So I want us to round this very through because we need to be off in about the next 10 minutes.
Yep.
This is really interesting. So what do you guys think about anonymity on social media? Should it be allowed? Red, let me break this down because I'm interested to hear what you think about it, because this is a great question.
See, here's
go. So my thing is this is that it's a good thing that you want to remove anonymity. I get it, because if you are anonymous, you can't go through to guys, blah 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 blah. So that's basically Facebook. If you hand it to Facebook, there's a name, passport, driving license, everything. So now we now know that if anybody says anything bad, you can now put a name to it. But you know, Shane, I love that it's anonymous, because I'm about reality and the truth of humanity. Because again, what we do on this whole podcast thing is that we talk and we get into the psychology and we talk about humanity, society, and the big things of why do we do things this way? Why do we act this way? Why do people do things this way? If you remove the anonymity, we can't get back to the truth of like, man, why do people say these things? You see, if that racist guy, specifically that racist guy who's like 12 and lives in his basement, in his underwear and so forth, if he now has a name, a face, he wouldn't say these things. But if you remove the name and the face, He's really taking these things. It's for me. I call it the Xbox Live complex. That's doing an Xbox Live called RD12345 blah 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 blah. All you can hear is the dude's voice and so forth. But this guy said, "Oh, you nigga, this black, that's you black, please, blah, blah, blah." Like if you beat him at FIFA Pro Evo, he will send you a message saying, "You black." It's like because my big brother is amazing as Pro Evo. He's amazing, and there are times when he just destroyed this guy, and the guy would just send him all this racial abuse after the guy lost. So my thing is that the reason why I like anonymity is anytime people say, "Oh no, there's no racism. Racism doesn't exist at heart." No, it does exist because you now remove anonymity. We would be able to see how ugly and how messed up society is. Mm-hmm. What say you?
So here's what I think. I think with the current like trajectory that humanity's gone into, like, and a lot of the technology that's rolled out, we've traded a lot of our privacy for convenience, right? Like everything we have, your cell phone tracks you. Your laptop is tracked. You have like companies have access to your messages and your phone calls. Everything. We've pretty much lost the keys to our lives. Pretty much, you no longer have that kind of privacy anymore. The last thing we do have is just our anonymity online. Like this is like our own privacy. I think I'm for it, just for the precedent. Even though it would be nice for this minority of people that are going out there and they're abusing people and they're using it like to really attack people or harm people or send like abuse to people. Like I get a lot of people that sometimes they'll send me abuse, and I'd like to know who they are, to just confront them face to face, because I always talk to people online the way I talk to them in real life. I treat respect with respect. You guys have known me on the Hangout for like 4 years. I've never insulted anybody, never hurt anybody, never tried to offend anybody. But there are still people that will come and insult me and feel like that.
So, but you know, on that thing, there's like, I'm still very suspicious of you because I say this dude can't be this nice. I'm still waiting for you. I'm still waiting for like you to say something nasty, awkward, racist. There must be something racist or sex or something about it. Because no, this guy, he can't be this nice. No, I don't believe you.
It's my world. It's my worldview. I'm a tourist in this planet. I'm a tourist in the planet. I'm not here to hurt anybody. I have no power. I don't like. When I view you, here's the thing. You could call me whatever you want. You could make fun of me being Arab, Muslim, Arabic. I would never attack you personally because you are just a human being, just like me. You're me and you are bottom of the totem pole. Right? You don't have power over my life to affect me. Now, if let's say, for example, Justin Trudeau, who's a prime minister.
Everybody has an edge, Red. Everyone has an edge where they snap. You've snapped before. Of course you've snapped. Of course.
I like I said, like I treat respect with respect. I don't like disrespect face to face. Like when somebody like is like, I'll give you, this is an example that I've had. I had a stalker issue recently, where
male or female?
Female. She's it's been over a year where I've been like telling her like I'm not interested, and like she keeps every couple months like she shoots her shot and stuff like that, and like she holds me hostage because she knows my place of work, so she'll come to my place of work, and eventually like I just stopped responding. I just stopped responding completely, and when it like what happened, she comes to my store and then she starts being very aggressive in her tone. Now, mind you, as a professional, I will always treat whoever comes into my store with professionalism. Like I will answer your question, whatever you ask me, and everything like that. But it got to the point where she was being too disrespectful, and I told her, "Stop right there! Don't talk to me like that. I'm not your servant. You can't order me around like that. I'll speak with you with respect. You speak with me with respect. If you don't like that, that door fits an elephant. You can leave." Right? I said it in a very. She was shook.
Have you seen Fatal Attraction?
Yeah, I have. Yeah, with the way where he. Yep. You have that.
Careful.
Women are scary. Women are. No. Yeah. Like I have receipts for everything. I've never touched this woman in my life. I've never done anything. Like I'm not interested. Like, and I'm in a state right now where I'm going out with girls on dates and stuff like that, but in a very casual setting. I'm not looking for it. I just recently got out of a long-term relationship, but. I say all that to say, like on the side, like anonymity is important. Like people, like just because we shouldn't let small minority affect us, because these corporations, they would love to have your information. They would love when you sign up to their apps, they get your social insurance number, your address, everything, because they just want to sell you more stuff. They want to make you the perfect consumer. That's all they want to do. And that's why I don't like giving my information out there. Even though I'm the type of guy, I'll put my first name out there. I'll put my face out here. I'm very public. I have nothing to hide. Again, I'm just a regular guy. Like I don't do anything sketchy or anything like that. Like my life consists of work, gym, like talking football with you guys online, doing this podcast and my friends. Like there's nothing more to it. Very basic, simple man. So when I don't want corporations to have more power over us. I don't want the government to have more power in our life. So that's why I believe in anonymity. It's based purely off of the precedent. That's all. It does.
Sorry, finish up.
No, that's pretty much it. It's all wrapped up. But great question, Shane. Amazing question, honestly.
Yeah, it's like, governments can't intervene in private companies. My fear is always, could there be a law? And this is always my fear. Could there be a law that could force a Twitter or a because obviously Instagram is owned by Facebook.
Yep.
Could there be a law where they can now force guys to?
And
I'm like, you can't do that. You see,
they're too big.
It's like for me, you can't intervene. You can't intervene because I feel that it is very important to allow certain companies to, because that's what life is about. Because if government starts to seep their hands into every facet of society, then what's this whole thing about? Then we're living pretty much in a soft dictatorship. It's a soft dictatorship.
It is. But I'm just going to read out the comment real quick. The argument in favor of anonymity is that people in certain countries don't have the freedom to express themselves without the threat of repercussion. Fair. But don't these governments already have the ability to find someone anyway? And is it worth the trade-off? Now, here's the thing, bro. Coming from like the Middle East, bro, like I migrated here based off of the civil war that happened in Syria. And a lot of the stuff that was happening on the ground was not going to be reported by media there. And a lot of media was not allowed in countries. So it was on the ground, people that were able to post these things on social media under anonymous accounts they were able to let this news be out there. That is actually, I didn't even think about that point. It didn't even cross my mind right now, but that is true. Like when you think about a lot of things that happened, like China to the Uyghurs, or what was happening in Palestine, Israel, like what's happening in let's say like Black Lives Matter. Like let me think about it this way. Like think about the Rodney King situation in the 90s, right? Where he was caught on camera getting beaten up. But because the media can control the narrative, it's fine. And even if you go and speak up, it's very easy to silence you once you're known. They could silence you. They could better kill you, cut you off, blackball you, anything. Anonymity allows the regular person to have as much of a voice because they can post it without affecting their livelihood. They could do the right thing without affecting it.
For me, basically, it goes back to the basic freedom of expression. It's like you have the freedom to say racist things, and you now have to face the repercussions.
Exactly.
That's the thing. We can't have a society that says that you're not allowed to be racist, sexist, or whatsoever. No, we can't. No, for me, it's like, no. Let's do what you want to do, but then there are going to be repercussions of the things that you say or what you do. And once we have that, boom. But once you now create an environment that says you're not even allowed to say these things, you're now policed with regards to what you can say or what you can do. No, because I think that for this social experiment called life and for humanity, we have to allow people to freely express themselves. So we now know that, this is how people really feel. And because this is how people really feel, why do they feel this way? In your place of work, people are fake. They don't act like how they truly act because I want to keep my job.
Yep.
And I'm in a place. See, the beauty about the internet is something that couldn't have existed all those years ago, because the internet is that anonymity is I can now say whatever the hell I want to say. So many of these guys, these trolls on the internet and so forth that say all these rich things and so forth, they would never say it to you in your face. 100%. Like some of the guys who say black is black, the blacks, they never say it in my face. So
no, but here's the thing, HH, like I do want to say this is that the human mind is very one track. So you program your mind, you build up these habits, right? So the person who's online saying all this racist stuff, it will come back to them and they will say it in front of you eventually. For example, remember on the last podcast, you spoke about your friend who got a bit drunk and got a bit too reckless. Yeah. He was like, "Where's your banana, Henri? Where's your banana?" The reason for that is he was seeing it at home comfortably. And then eventually it just slipped out of his tongue. The reason, for example, I never say the N-word, right? I never do. When I'm singing, I'll say it. Like let's say when Kanye's Gold Digger, Now she ain't messing with no, like, I'll sing along when I'm in the car and all this stuff. Yes, but I will never say it in regular context. One, because as a white dude saying it, I look corny saying it. Like, that's one. But two, the reason for that is because if I say it, I get myself used to that slang. I will constantly repeat it. Right? Like, I say my part of my slang, I always say my guy. I'll say it, like, whenever I'm in a conversation with people, I say it subconsciously. So when you build up these habits, it will eventually come full circle. So ultimately, you won't ever get away with it. There is no perfect crime. If you're online and with an anonymity posting and stuff, even if you're just trolling, you are building these habits that you're gonna post this stuff. No, it's fascinating. I would never say it. I would never say it, bro. No. Here's the thing.
Red, I see that chain, man. Basically, you've got that,
bro. This is Middle Eastern, bro.
White
Middle
chocolate, man.
Like, bro, this is like, bro, my whole set. This is like, bro, Middle Eastern guys. We always wear silver chains. This isn't like imitation of anything. But like, I've actually had this since I was in Syria. But no, here's the thing. Like, I'll tell you this. I would never, like, the reason, I'll be honest with you, the reason why I don't say the N-word, I don't believe anybody should say it. I don't believe anybody should say it. But that's not on me to really enforce what people can say or can't. I just feel like that word has a very negative connotation. The history behind it is very dark. Very, very, very dark. Like, people don't, like, go watch Nat Turner's Birth of a Nation and just see just a glimpse of what some people had to live with, and for you to say that word loosely, right? And another thing is, I'll be honest with you, I'm very self-aware, right? I see sometimes Asian guys saying it. I see sometimes like some Arabs saying it, especially because of Drake. When you go to Toronto, there's a lot of cringe dudes that be like, "Oh, it's a mad thing, eh?" Yeah, you know what I mean? They say that stuff, and I'm like, bro, like, don't do it. I know how.
But my thing about it is that, you see, it's very complex. It is true. Like, look, you shouldn't be saying that. But the issues are when you now have K-pop and rap, and they say it so profusely. Because my thing, because I remember there was one time I was in back in school, we're just playing football and everything. There was just this short white guy. And he was obviously reciting the lyrics to a song. So he probably wanted to go and like step up to beat him up and say, wait a minute, this is a weird situation, because if I'm beating him up, he can easily say, I've bought a song with my own money and I'm reciting the lyrics from the song. So even if you shouldn't, you can still see his points. So therefore, you now have to look at rappers and be like, wait, why are you saying this so profusely? And why are you not going to perform these songs and so forth in front of hundreds and thousands of whites? So when you're now performing these songs in front of hundreds and thousands of whites, so they should be like, come on. I mean, what? So the issue is the music, and I have got my own dealings with hip hop and rap and the lyrics and so forth and everything. So
because they make it cool, they make it seem like it's cool. But the thing is, it's just like, I'm so for, like, I know some people are like, oh, like, there are some black people think that Arabs, it's okay for them to say, like, again, bro, look at how I look like. If I go on the street and start saying it, that's, people are gonna be like, look at this, like, Eminem wannabe, look at this, like, honestly, I don't carry myself that way, to be honest with you, bro. Like, I prefer, bro, I treat respect with respect. Like I said, look, if you meet me ever in life, bro, I will dap you up. I'll talk to you. I move with no fear, because I'm not a hostile person. And trust me, guys, when you guys try this out, instead of putting yourself in competition with other people, instead of thinking of other people as others, focus just on yourself, right? Just on being the best version of yourself. Like, just on making sure your vocabulary is always on point. The way you're talking to people, you be clear. You meet people, you shake their hand. I'll tell you a true story, right? Remember that girl that I spoke about last week that I went and she was drunk, right? Now after that party, like, when I got there, that party was ending. She's like, oh no, my friends are at another party. Let's go there. So I'm like, okay, let's go. No, I thought that party was for her friends. I get there and she's like, oh no, the house owner's not, I don't know them. My friends were invited by like some other people. I'm like, so wait. This is like my first date with you pretty much. And you're taking me to meet your friends who are at their friend's house party. Like, that's like 4th degree of separation. I told her, listen, I'm not comfortable with this environment. I don't want to go in. She's like, no, don't worry, don't be afraid. Like, I'm like, look, I'm not afraid. It's just that, my guy, I don't like being at somebody's house that I don't know. Like, if it's your friend, okay, cool, I'm with you. You know the person that's owner. I don't know these people. I kept on like making a fuss. I don't want to go in. Anyways, one of her friends comes out and she drags us in, right? And I go in. When I go in, we go to the backyard. She had got me like a Snoop Dogg joint. She'd like, oh, I got it for you, and then we can smoke in it. So we go to the backyard and we're like sitting, we're smoking, we're chilling. It's a party. Like, there's a jacuzzi, there's a swimming pool. There's like some was a great, like it was very, very dope. So while we're chilling, this guy, the owner of the house, like they're like, oh, let's go introduce you to him. I go and I shake his hand. I'm like, hey, what's going on? Abdul. That's my name, Abdul. He's like, oh, what's going on? James, yada, yada. The guy looks at me, he was like, man, you looked me in the eye, you shook my hand, you're a good guy. Literally. And that's it. Like, I just continued, had a good time. Did end up I'm not going to share the rest of the story. I'm going to leave that for another time. But there was like a major thing that happened after that I feel it was the best and worst thing that ever happened to me. But not the best and worst thing, but like it was very good and it was very bad at the same time. But the whole point of the story is, even though I was in a foreign environment, I was in somebody else's house, I wasn't comfortable with stuff, but because I had no ill intent, I was just going and just not doing anything. Treated the men with respect. You shake their hand, you make eye contact, you do that stuff. People will sense that off of you. When you're in there, you're fearful. They'll be like, why is this guy fearful? When you're in there and you're hostile, like, why is this guy hostile? When you're in there and you're like horny, like, okay, this guy got a bad vibe off of him. It's all about your vibe, your energy, what you give off, your intent. Intent is everything, guys. Right? So and that's how, and that's like essentially how I like to move. And that's why I don't like really, like, again, like I move without fear, because there's no reason to. If somebody's going to come and, let's say, rob me or attack me, like, that's based off of poverty, man. Like, that's not really based off of something I did, right? But I don't really put myself in those situations. Like, I'm not really in those areas. But yeah,
but you. I think, just to round up, because we just got to like round off now and everything. But you will be tested though. And I think that's the greater Tesla ahead, and ready. You will be pushed to the edge, and I cannot wait until that's your moral compass. See, for me, like, I am a super nice guy. See, it may not seem like it's based on just how brash and braggadocious I am as half and so forth. But anybody who meets me, if you meet me face to face, I am almost completely different from how I am as half, because half is a persona, you know. Especially half is like, it's sort of like wrestling. Half is just a more extreme version.
I can tell you're introverted, HH. I can tell you're introverted. Of course I am. You have that confidence, but I can tell you're more to yourself. Like
100%. Like, if every single time I go to like a big crowd, or let's say I go to a club or a party, I find one or two guys to speak with. And I say, like my sister is amazing at small talk. She can go and just have a conversation with someone that she doesn't like. I am horrible at small talk. Somebody can tell within a few seconds that I am not interested in this conversation that I made. But guys, look, we've talked enough. This has been good and great. So guys,
honestly, yep.
Me and Red are hopefully trying to work on getting these podcasts on Spotify, iTunes, and so forth. So it's currently in the works, so you can listen to all the previous episodes. And we're hopefully going to try and bring up our Patreon page so you can support us, where we can put even more content and post even more content on our Patreon page, man. So once we can get that set up, we will be able to tell you about that, so you can support us with more of that content.
And you know what? We'll make for the people that saying that they hate small talk, like we can make an episode. I could actually help you guys out with that, man. Small talk is actually one of the easiest things you could.
I'm horrible at small talk. I'm horrible because I'm very self-conscious that I'm doing small talk. So I'm like, oh no, this is horrible, man.
Trust me, I used to be awful, but like I said, you could eventually, like, by practicing, you could fix that up, because, you know, we'll leave it for another time for another conversation. Yeah. But yeah, no, always a pleasure, guys. Guys, leave a comment or like a like just for the Al Gore.
Tell us anything that we can do to improve things you want to talk to and everything. And also, we definitely want to take more comments. So for next Sundays, because this is every Sunday, so hopefully, because Red says that so both of our Sundays are free for this time, so it's going to be every Sunday. So we're trying to get some more comments and questions in.
Definitely, and I always read the comments, guys. So if you guys have any questions for me or anything like that, I always read the comments. I try my best to respond. So leave a comment, and yeah, man. Okay. Have a great week, guys.
Peace. We'll see you guys next Sunday, guys. Peace.